Now this club promises to be the cheat code to all your golfing problems. What club is it? Well, it's the Stealth 2 Plus Rescue. So if you go on the Taylormade website, the first thing you will see when you click on the page with this is the cheat code. It's great from fairway, rough, off the tee. So I'm going to put that to the test. I'm going to put it to the test out on course. I'm going to go out to Whitsand Bay and I'm going to put it in different lies and test it and see if it's as versatile as they are claiming now. I have tested these types of hybrids before in the past, and personally I would class myself as an okay ball striker. You know, I'm not the best, but I'm not the worst. I can hit a decent ball, but these hybrids have always been notoriously difficult to hit for me, as opposed to the more forgiving, bigger, like normal hybrid that you would see. These types of small profiled hybrids have always been pretty difficult. So is this club actually a cheat code? I'm going to get some numbers in the studio and I'm going to head out to Whitsand Bay and I'm going to hit some balls and actually test it for you guys and see if it's something you should be considering, or whether you should steer well clear of this and go into the more forgiving type of hybrids. Okay, so I've come out on course with the Stealth 2 Plus and I'm going to put this to the test. I'm going to hit some tee shots with it, I'm going to hit some out the fairway and I'm going to hit some out the rough. Apparently this is a cheat code, so they tell me. So I'm going to try it at some difficult lies. First things first, tee shot. Now I expect this to be a weapon off the tee, low launch, low spin weapon off the tee, but time will tell. This is a 19.5 degree, so it should go pretty well. And I've handily picked a hole that's downwind. Oh my God, that is so good. That is so low launching. You'll see that on the shot tracer. It's just, that is a great club into wind, definitely. Let's hit another one. Like if this was an into wind, that would have been a great shot. So off the tee, it's okay. Doesn't feel the easiest club to hit though. All this lack of real estate really doesn't give you the confidence that you're going to hit it well. But like I've said, probably for the better player. So a little bit toey, but it's done okay. It'd be interesting to see the difference in distance between those two, because the first one was okay, but the second one, very toey. So have I got a drop off? So interestingly, no. There's the one, the first one I hit, and there's the second one just in the rough, and there is probably about a yard between them. So off the tee performed pretty well. Now I'm going to try it out the fairway and then I'm going to try it out the rough. Now when I've tested previous hybrids, the bigger ones, they perform really well out of the rough, but with this being a little bit smaller in its profile, will I get as good a feeling as I do off the fairway or off the tee? This is probably a good hybrid to the green from here, so it'll be interesting to see how we get on. So out the fairway to start with. Oh, it's such a good ball fly. That is, oh, do you know what? Like, I've tested this in the studio and we'll go back to the studio in a minute and talk about it. I did not expect this to be this good out on the golf course, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Okay, so this ball is sat down a little bit in the rough. It's still hittable, but it's definitely sat down a little bit more than I would normally like it to be in a rough. If it was an iron I was using now, I would hate to have this shot. But as it's a hybrid, I've got the confidence that I'll get the ball up in the air. But with this one, I've not got as much confidence looking over it as I would like a normal, maybe like ping style hybrid that I use anyway. But we'll give it a go and see how it performs out of here. Oh, do you know what? That's done pretty well as well. It's not come out as well as off the fairway, but it's definitely come out okay. A lot better than I thought, but the problem with it, as you'll see with the ball tracer, is it's so low launch in this club that out the rough, it can't get the spin on it to sort of rise up in the air a little bit. It just sort of comes out a little bit dead, but do you know what? It was a little bit better than I probably thought it was gonna be. But as we come down here, so this is the one I hit out the rough, in the rough. And then if we just look up there a little bit, there's the one I hit out of the fairway. And if I pace that out, that's probably about 5 yards, maybe 10 at the most. So that's the drop off I got. And I feel it's a little bit, because of, like I said, it just came out a little bit dead. but I've come down here and I'm really surprised at how far this one out the rough has actually gone. It's a little bit of testament to the golf club, because I really expected after I hit that for it to be nowhere near it, especially because that's hit the fairway and would have got a little bit of run. Yes, it's wet out here, so it's not going to go very, like, run for miles, but it would have had a little bit of run, whereas this one in the rough would have just stopped dead. So actually, it's done really well. Before we head to the next section where I'm going to test the any lie marketing that Taylormade give us, let's head back to the studio, let's look at the numbers and let's see how it performed in the studio with that dry ball data. Okay, so let's look at the numbers. Average ball speed 138.2, so not too bad when it comes to ball speed. As I said, this is a 3 hybrid, so you know, it's the ball speed where I would expect it to do. Launch angle 13.5, actually exactly as expected with this club. It does launch lower, and that's something that I sort of mentioned when I was out on Whitsand Bay was, you know, it does launch low. It's not the most forgiving hybrid in the world. Average spin 3,200, you know, it's exactly where I'd want it to be, and it's actually pretty consistent as well. Not a great deal of standard deviation in the spin, so actually performing pretty well and a lot better than I probably expected it to do. Descent angle 40.9, this is coming in low, and this is something that I think is a problem with that kind of club, is you need so much speed to be able to get the ball in the air, whereas the other hybrids will launch higher. So it does come in quite low, so it's just something to bear in mind with that club. And of course with that, the peak height at 32, pretty low for a hybrid, but you know, it's very consistent. An average distance of 222, so this is what would be a 3-iron for me. So a 4-iron would go around 205, just tipping just under 210. So a good 14-yard gap to a 3-iron would be perfect. So it actually sits pretty well within what I would want it to do in my bag for distance. In there is a golf ball. Now I'm going to hit that golf ball out of there with this hybrid, because it says in the marketing, fairway, off the tee, out the rough, any lie. That is a horrendous lie. That is a wedge or an 8-iron at the most to just get it out and get it into play. But will this hybrid get the ball out a little bit further than I would go if I was trying to hit it with a wedge? That is all grass before the ball, so it's going to be really difficult to get out. Now my guess is that this is either going to just top and go nowhere, it's going to come out okay, or I'm going to absolutely pull it to the left. So I'm just going to aim for that big tree in the distance, because I don't want to go anywhere near that house. This is definitely grass before ball. Let's see how well it does. Oh, do you know what? That has done amazing. Like, it's come out and gone to the right, so it's not come out on that line, it's slightly faded to the right, but that came out so well. Like, so much better than it would have done with an iron, so much better than it would have done with a wedge or anything like that. It's gone a good 150 yards down there, which is more than I'd have got with an iron for sure. Okay, let's talk a little bit of tech about this Stealth 2 Plus hybrid. First things first, tour inspired shape. Like I've said before, definitely a shape that's designed more for the better player. It has the forged twist face, which you're seeing on all Taylormade sort of woods and hybrids these days. That's designed to sort of straighten the ball flight out a little bit. That advancement in the inverted cone technology, that's there designed to give you better ball speeds across the whole face, not just in the middle. And obviously you've got that V-steel sole, and what that does is that just pulls weight lower into the golf club to aid that launch and aid that forgiveness. V-steel is something that Taylormade have had for years and years, and it's now come back into the Stealth range and the Stealth 2 Plus range. It's a technology that's just been proven. Final test into wind. This is where I'm going to want this club to perform. Otherwise I would want a more high launching hybrid, but I've been so impressed by this so far, especially off the tee, but the more out the rough. It's really surprised me how easy it was to hit out the rough. I expected that last one to just absolutely go nowhere. So I'm just going to hit one normal, and then I'm going to hit one, I'm going to try and hit like a little stinger or something like that, and see how easy it is to sort of hit those versatility of shots. So first one normal. Nice and high. And I think that's done pretty well, to be honest, considering it is into wind. As we've seen with those numbers in the studio, it is a little bit lower spinning than what a normal hybrid would be for me. So that lower spin has definitely let that carry a little bit further. So now I'm just going to hit it out the back foot. I'm going to see if I can keep it a little bit lower and sort of hit, not like a stinger, but just like a little lowy punch shot, and see how far that's gone compared to the first one. My word, this club's good. In the studio, I'll be honest, didn't really like this golf club. Found it difficult to hit, although I find a lot of things difficult to hit in the studio. I don't know what it is about the environment, but I don't feel like I do my best when it comes to in the studio. But out on the course, this has really, really surprised me. Let's quickly go and check where they are, and then we'll head back to the studio. So we can see this one here, this first one is the one that rode up in the wind, and then that second one there is the one that I hit a little bit lower. All in all, about a 10-yard difference. But that's what I would expect. I'd expect the one that went in the air to sort of come a little bit lower, just because it rode up in the wind and the wind would have buffered it a little bit. But the ease of being able to hit them out on the golf course has really, really shocked me. Now, I still think that this hybrid is certainly for somebody who's a better player. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. I just think they will get the most out of this golf club. But if you're someone who struggles to get the ball up in the air, or someone who sort of struggles with long irons, then I would think there's probably better hybrids out there that are going to be higher launching and a little bit more spinny to be able to just sort of be more forgiving. This is not a forgiving golf club, but when I hit it out the toe on that first tee shot, you could see there was not a big drop off, so it has got some form of forgiveness in it. I just feel that in order to get the best out of this golf club, you would need to be a better ball striker. But from what I've done in the studio to what I've come out in here, this is definitely a golf club that I could play now. Whereas when I tested it in the studio, and when I probably concluded in the studio, it was definitely one that I would probably have given a miss. But the question is this the cheat code to golf? I think it's very much handicap dependent. I definitely feel like these types of hybrids are more aimed for your better player. So if you're sort of into your double figure handicap going up, I would definitely look at the more forgiving type of hybrid. But if you're a low handicap player, you're a decent ball striker, then yes, this is probably the hybrid you would go into. It's definitely going to be more versatile with the adjustability that it gives you. But I just feel like this is definitely harder to hit than what you would get with a normal standard looking hybrid or the normal Stealth 2 hybrids that you would get. So just bear that in mind. Don't go rushing out and buying this, because it's a more difficult club to hit. It launches lower, it spins lower, it peaks out lower. So it's not a hybrid that's for everyone. It's definitely, in my opinion, for that better player. So just bear that in mind and test. Definitely try the other hybrids first. Is it a cheat code? No, it's not a cheat code. It's actually pretty difficult to get right with this golf club. So I think the others are a better option. And I'd like to know if you're a plus type of player, or you the type of person that would go more into the Stealth 2, the more high launching, the more forgiving type of hybrid. There's definitely a place in the world for this type of hybrid. For me personally, it's not something I would play, although the numbers have done pretty well, and out on course, I hit it pretty well. It's just not a confidence building golf club for me, whereas with a hybrid, I want something that I know every time I'm going to launch it out of every situation. Remember, if you've liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up by clicking the thumbs up down below. As always, drop some comments, let me know what you think. And if you are new to the channel and you are not yet subscribed, smash that subscribe button down there, and let's get this channel growing into 2023.